right, welcome everybody to the I'm Clifford Today show. Welcome back. I'm back. It's good to be back. It's been a long couple weeks, and yeah, it's the I'm Clifford Today show, and I'm Clifford today, and you're not.
I am not,
and Nick's not. Nic is a bit of a surprise for this episode because didn't really this wasn't really exactly in the plan as the time of the recording of the last episode. So I'm sorry I didn't give you guys a heads up. But so first of all, Josh isn't here because we had a bit of a scheduling ordeal. I was going to say we usually record on Saturdays, but we've only recorded the one episode so far. But I couldn't record on Saturday because my sister was getting married. And so like that whole day was just blocked off for me. And so I was like, hey, is there any way that we could do Saturday, like early in the afternoon? And Josh wasn't able to do that. And it just so happened that me and Nic had a conversation because we were both at Audiofeed, which we will be talking about today. And he was like, hey, I put in a submission to be a co-host for the show. I was like, oh, I haven't checked it in forever. Like since Josh joined. In fact, I should probably go check it anyways, just to see if anyone else was interested. But I, basically I've gotten to the point where like I'm keeping that slot open for basically anyone who wants to join. Like Chase has talked about also being on the show, which I've been so busy I didn't get to reach out to him for this episode, but that's okay. But yeah, so Nic is going to be a co-host for the show when he can. And I mean, I don't know, your schedule is usually pretty free. Like it's like, as far as I know you. So, but I mean, it's the case for all the co-hosts. Everyone joins if they can, and we make it work. So, but yeah, and you guys should, if you've been, around the channel for a decent amount of time, you should know Nic. I mean, not only has he been a fan and supporter of the show, but he's also been on the show as a guest, talking about his music and the stuff that he's done. And me and Nic have done a lot of things together. We've done a lot of music and such, and we've known each other for a long time. And so now I guess we're doing the podcasting together. So
indeed. What a first.
So yeah, welcome everyone. I hope you get, leave a comment and make sure you welcome Nic to the show. I'm really excited to have him on. So I mean, Nic, a lot of people probably already know you at this point, but just give us I guess a little short intro of who you are, and I guess your relationship with Christian music, and I guess why you're things you're excited about, like being on the show and such.
Sure. Okay, so let's do this. So my name is Nic Gundy, and the Nic Gundy Experience has joined the I'm Clifford Today show for today. And I'm a Orthodox Christian first, everything else second. I used to have like a bigger involvement with a bigger consuming relationship with mainstream Christian music, but that's diverted a lot into underground Christian music, more specifically in the sub metal genres of them. Good examples for me is Living Sacrifice, Impending Doom, Demon Hunter, Holy Name, Fireflight, Red, Skillet, and Flyleaf, and The Letter Black. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's a good summary.
I'm being surrounded by Skillet fans now. Like both of the co-hosts that I've had join the show are Skillet fans. So I'm sure Skillet fans will be happy about that, to have some more balanced opinions on them. Because I've kind of been notoriously not so much a fan of their music, but hey, that's okay.
And with
It's
yeah, and
it's
with
just
a
my
little
opinion.
disclaimer, yeah, yeah, and a little disclaimer. I'm not a dedicated panhead as like I used to be after their 2013 album release, so I'm fairly out of the loop. But it sounds like everyone in the band has been staying consistent
Hmm.
in their walk with Christ, even if it's a bit different than mine. I'm glad they're still keeping it up.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's the one thing that I respect about them is
Yeah,
that like I may not like their music, but I do have a lot of respect for like John Cooper. He's been very outspoken last few years over a lot of stuff, like things having to do with faith and politics. And I know that's not going to be like not everyone's about that, but for me, it's just refreshing to have a voice in the music industry that are, standing up for issues like that he talks about.
yeah,
Um, I mean, he may be a little strong about the things that he believes, and I might not even like agree with everything exactly, but I at least have a lot of respect for him. So I can at least give him that. I just don't like his voice, but but it is
there
what
you
it is.
have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I actually like their early stuff, like
All of us do. So
yeah,
do I.
like before they like went full, like I guess you would call it like new metal, hard rock, I don't know. But they had a song that was kind of like more worshipful and alternative. It's called You Are My Hope. Um that's a great song. Um and there's a couple other ones. I it's been a long time since I've listened through an album, but I at least like their early stuff. But if you like them, that's okay. I mean, they're very popular for a reason, so I totally get it. And I did have a phase where I did like, I was really into the like Awake album and such, like with Monster. But then I just kind of grew out of that phase, you know.
That was where
So
I was at too.
yeah. So
Right after Rise,
oh
that
yeah,
follow up album.
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah. It's well, whatever. Glad to
all
have
right.
you on the show, and I'm looking forward to your opinions. And, I guess like elephant in the room, we both have like, we're both in like different walks of faith. You're Orthodox. I'm, um, you know,
He's there.
Protestant,
Yeah.
evangelical, you know, Pentecostal, I guess I would consider myself still Pentecostal. But, uh,
Not with what I've seen from you.
well, I'm very well. Yeah, I'm very much. Like I come hard. I go
By principle, I'll say that.
by principle. Like what?
Well, I don't know. It's been a while. You're Pentecostal by by virtues, but just like not by the tons thing that
well,
everyone gets out of proportion. You know what I mean?
I well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I still I don't know. I didn't know that we were gonna. I didn't expect for us to go down this
Me
conversation.
neither.
We'll just do it really
You
quick.
said
But
it. Hey,
like,
you said it.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I know. I still believe in like the gift of tongues. I don't go like really far with it. That like we both were have like a background in Assemblies of God. And
Yeah.
their doctrine is that you're not filled with the Holy Spirit unless you speak in tongues. And I don't go that far with it. And I believe in like the gifts of the Spirit and such, but I don't go that far with like the hyper charismatic kind of
Yes.
stuff, like
Yeah.
Bethel and all that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of made me come like do a little like kind of stepping back away from it a bit, but I still consider myself like in that camp.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'll only bring it up real quick. Then we'll move on. Like my
sure.
first and only my first and only time experiencing that speaking in tongues was at a afternoon prayer service at that same First Assemblies of God church we went
Mm-hmm.
to, and that was like early 2020 before lockdown. And I was like, hold up, what's going on here, dog? What are y'all doing? I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, it is a bit weird to,
Yeah.
a lot of outsiders, but That's just the Holy Spirit, man.
No, it's not. No, 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 no.
Well,
Well,
we're not gonna
like I said,
go
we're
down
not
that
going to go
rabbit
into that.
hole.
That was just my quick little story. So anyway, what
Yeah.
are we going to talk? What
Well,
are
I
we
was
going to
just
talk
gonna
about
say
today?
all that to say, me and Nick have our differences, of course, but I know Nick, and I wouldn't say this about like
Right.
a lot of like Orthodox or Catholics, but
Yeah.
I do believe that Nick is a brother, so I will stand by that. So yeah, so we agree to disagree on things, but yeah, what we are going to talk about, um, and we're going to get into. I just have a little bit of housekeeping, but we are going to talk about our time at Audiofeed, which it works out that you're joining us for this episode. Just talk about like how like our experience in the Audiofeed 2024. It was last weekend, and then we should get into this whole ordeal with Ann Wilson and her
Yeah.
songs about whiskey. I mean, we're a little bit late talking about this because this kind of was a controversy about a month ago. But welcome to the I'm Clifford Today
Only a
show, where
month. Okay.
we're late on a few things, but I think it's
Nah,
important.
we're not late. We're just doing it at our own pace.
Right? Yeah, we're like Gandalf. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. So we talk about Christian music topics when we mean to. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we're gonna get into that. A big chunk of it is probably going to be us talking about audio feed, but we'll spend some time on songs about whiskey. First, let's see. I believe there are a couple of comments to from the last episode, and I also will say I apologize to everyone who like follows the I'm Clifford Today channel. I did not get around to editing any videos. Like I didn't get around to editing the My Humble Opinion episode. And I feel bad too because that was Josh's first one. And I feel like we had a maybe I'll try to do it today if I have time and just like upload it before this episode goes out tomorrow. But we had an interesting discussion, I think, about like Anne Boleyn and like the with Maddie Mullins joining the band. So we'll see. But yeah, if it just doesn't come out, I apologize for that. But we do have a few comments from the last episode, only a couple actually. Um, First comment in the last episode was top 10 best Christian albums in 1994. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I basically gave my favorite albums from that year because I turned 30 this year. So I talked about all the Christian albums that did turn 30. And first comment is from Soul Kiss. He just says, interesting title. Like, I mean, I don't know what he means. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it gets the point across. It's like
Yeah.
the top 10 best albums in 1994. Maybe he commented before he watched the video and was probably thinking, like, why 1994? Like, it's such a random year. So,
Oh,
but thanks for the feedback, Soul Kiss. We also got a comment from 80s pastor dude. Sorry. Good to hear back from you. He's a fan of the channel, and we follow each other on Twitter. He's also got his own podcast, I believe, on his channel.
Oh.
So definitely check that out. And he shared his his top 10 from 1994. And it's not numbered, but I'm going to assume that it goes from best to worst. So I'm going to start from the bottom. And now we hear. No, I'm going to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top so we get a sense of what his favorites from 1994. He says Sam Phillips, Martinis and Bikinis.
What?
Which I don't know. Maybe this isn't necessarily Christian. Maybe it's not all Christian. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that one.
I gotta find your video then.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I want to read along to this.
Yeah, it's on. I hearted it. So we got Sam Phillips, Martinis and Bikinis, Undercover, Forum. So the album Forum by Undercover, and then Great Lengths by PFR, which I did listen to that one, and I don't know, it just didn't really do anything for me personally. Um, Crimson and Blue by Phil Keaggy, which I didn't even realize that there was a Phil Keaggy album from 94. No one told me. I would have checked it out because I'm a Phil Keaggy fan. Uh, I guess I'm not that big of a fan that I didn't even know, but whatever. Or I guess I forgot about that album. And then Michael Sweet. Well, he says Michael Sweet by Michael Sweet, like it's a self-titled album, but I'm pretty sure it was called 1994. And I unfortunately didn't get around to that one, which is sad because it was actually called 1994. But Michael Sweet's from Striper, I believe.
Ah.
Yeah, or Petra. I hope I'm not getting that mixed up, but I'm pretty sure he's the guy from Striper. And then we got Welcome Race Fans by Dakota Motor Company, and Vanishing Lessons by Tourniquet, and The Fatherless and the Widow by Sixpence None the Richer, which I also included on my list. Then we got Snuff the Punk by POD, which I didn't get around to listening to that one either. And then I believe, if I have the order right, his number one was also Going Public by the Newsboys, which was my number one. So I'd say that makes the list pretty valid, in my opinion. So,
Well done.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to check out some of those other ones. Especially, I feel bad. Like if I actually missed a Phil Keaggy album, let's make sure. I'm gonna fact check that, because some of the albums that like some people suggested to me, like I looked up and was like, oh, it's not actually 94. Gosh dang it. That's the album. Yeah, it was. Wait, no. Hold up.
Ooh.
Okay, All Music says it was released in 1994, but Wikipedia says it was released in March of 1993. Which, okay, so there you go. Sorry to fact check. Man, different things are saying 94 and some are saying 93. But I think I'm going to trust
Oh,
Wikipedia on this one.
yeah. I trusted Wikipedia for all my stuff in college.
As should everyone. Which that's good because like I know that album and there's a song on there that I particularly enjoy. So I
Well,
feel
do
like
you
I'm
have a
safe.
physical? Do you have a physical copy
Of
of
the
it?
Phil Keaggy album?
Yeah.
No, I
No.
don't,
Oh, because
unfortunately.
like if you did, you would probably see the distribution
Yeah.
year on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Wikipedia also says it was recorded in mid 92. So if that's the case, I doubt that it would have come out in 94. Oh, cuz he had another album that did come out in 94 called Blue. So,
Oh,
I don't know. I guess we might have to um reach
you
out
hear
to
that,
Phil
Clifford?
Keaggy
I mean,
himself.
do you hear that, everyone?
Yeah.
Clifford needs to buy a hard copy just to verify when it was released.
Yeah, I wonder if even a physical copy is available. Phil Keaggy, Crimson and Blue. Yeah, because I love the song "Shouts of Joy." That's got some great drumming on it. Doesn't look like. Maybe. Ah, well. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
it looks like I could buy a copy on Amazon, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. Not a big deal. But either way, it's I'm sure it's a good album. I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I do remember that song "Shouts of Joy." It's a jam. But thanks, '80s pastors, dude.
Thank
Pastor dude. I don't
you.
know why I call you pastors, dude. '80s pastor dude for commenting once again. If you
Because he's
guys,
a dude's pastor.
yes, from the '80s. But yeah, you guys can always leave a comment or anything, and I will most likely talk. Give you a shout out on the show. Also, any of you audio listeners out there, if you're like listening on Apple Podcasts and such, you can always leave a review on there, and I will read the review out loud and give you a shout out. Um, Hasn't happened in a while. I mean, I don't really get a ton of listeners on the audio side of things, but in the off chance that you are, feel free to leave a review on there. And I think that is all we got um, for the housekeeping. Um, oh, I almost forgot the album of the week.
Oh yeah.
um,
What's the album of the week?
it is Song Machine, Volume 1, Strange Times by Gorillaz. It's a long and complicated title, but it's a great album. Came out in 2020, I believe. So, like, in the midst of a lot of like mediocre music, that was my favorite album from the of that year. Um, and it was especially a good surprise because Gorillaz had kind of been a little lackluster for their previous two albums, and then Song Machine came out and brought back my faith in them. So it's a lot of fun if you love like experimental pop mixed with rock and hip hop and all kinds of stuff. They're just a great group. Well, it's not really a group; it's Damon Albarn, but it's good stuff. And let's see other things. Podwood Forecast, other podcasts that I have with my friend Mitchell. You can check that out. We just had our recent episode talking about Spyro the Dragon, and it was a lot of fun. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
so I think
I almost got done listening to the section where you were going over trivia questions for
oh
different
yeah,
shows.
that's like at the beginning, man. You got a lot to get through.
I still got a lot to get through.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I appreciate
I loved
you.
how you I loved how you used that I loved how you used that part reminiscent about watching the BBC Robin Hood show
Yeah,
that I watched that encouraged me to watch it
yeah,
during 2020.
yeah. I
And I was
made
like,
you a fan.
man, there's a lot of stuff I forgot about.
Well, that just means you got to rewatch it then.
Oh, we'll see. I need to get around to watching Lord of the Rings.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've been saying that for months. Now I need to actually do it.
Wait, so you still haven't even watched it yet?
I've seen I've seen good chunks of it. I haven't sat down consistently to watch the extended editions for them.
You got to
That's
make
my
it happen,
that's
man.
my that's my main goal.
Yeah. Well, awesome. For some reason, I was thinking that you had seen them recently, but yeah, you
Oh,
should.
I wish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could maybe make it a thing. You know, I think some of my friends were talking about like doing a marathon. Um, but yeah, those are my favorite movies. So I would
Well,
recommend
just let me
anyone
know
watch
when the
them.
watch party is, and then we'll go
I'll
watch
let
it
you
together.
know. I'll let you know if it happens.
Yeah.
um, cool. Well, I think that's but yeah. So Podwood Forecast talked about Spyro, but we also took some time at the beginning to have like a sort of quiz for. Well, we quizzed me on one of my favorite shows, Robin Hood BBC, and quizzed Mitchell on Kingdom Hearts. So
Oh yeah.
is a fun time. So check it out, definitely. Cool. Well, we got a little bit of time before break. We can at least talk a little bit about audio feed before we break, and then we'll come back to it. But yeah, so audio feed was 2024 was last week, and both Nick and I went, and you know what? In fact, I'm gonna pull up. I need to pull up that lineup so that I remember all the people that I went to see. Um, and yeah, it was my third time going, and it was a very very special time. I had my own table there, a vendor table where I sold I'm Clifford Today merch and some Sherwood Forest CDs, and I also that's one other thing that you guys need to be on the lookout for is that I did an interview with John Van Dusen, and I also interviewed Joshua from Make Sure. So those are going to be coming out. Those are going to be the next couple episodes that will be coming out. And so yeah, but let's. And also one thing to note was that it was the 10th audio feed.
Yeah.
Audiofeed's been around for more than 10 years because there were a couple of years because of COVID and such that they had to cancel it. But technically, this was the 10th audio feed, so it was very special. But yeah, I guess let's just give a quick rundown of like how it went and what kind of experience we had. Did you want to go ahead and start, Nick?
I
How did
can.
you feel about audio feed this year?
Well, just as I expected, it was definitely a lot different than last year for me spiritually, but
Mm,
but it was also a lot of fun to catch up with several people I haven't seen in 5 years
mm-hmm,
tops, including some members from ERA from Washington D.C.
mm-hmm.
That's my friend Nathan Moe's other band. Nathan also plays in Idle Threat,
Oh, okay,
and I also
gotcha.
yeah, and I it was all, and I can tell you all the stories after the break. For
Sure.
like, it's like most importantly, what I mainly did. I'll show you guys what I did. I hosted E-Ray for almost a whole week at my house, and
Yeah.
I hosted a house show the Wednesday before the first day of audio feed
Mm-hmm.
with them and a G who also played at audio feed, and I did a chariot the chariot cover set
Yeah, the
on the
karaoke.
open yeah, on the open mic stage that they have called the front porch.
Yeah.
And then I did a solo set. And then for the remainder 2 days in the evenings, I MC'd, overlooked the front porch open mic stage,
Mm-hmm.
just running and sounding, getting things ready for X.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you did
Yeah.
run sound for that. That's
Yep.
yeah, and I actually did my own solo set
Yay!
at the front porch impromptu stage, which I'm actually glad that there wasn't a lot of people there to watch me because
Ah, come on.
it was it was a little rough, and if I had prepared myself
So was my
better,
first. So was my first front porch set a couple
well,
years ago.
the plan is next time, uh, hopefully I'll like get like a full band together to do
I
that.
mean, that's my goal for my set too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is I just wasn't really sure if it was actually going to happen, and for a while it wasn't because it was all booked out, and then somehow you or Corey were able to pull some strings so that I was able to
Yeah,
do
we
that.
mistake. Yeah, what happened was we had the Chris Bernstorff and
Hmm.
orchestra signing, and then there was someone else after him that was under Chris Russell, and and by my group chat, we some of us thought it was Chris Bernstorff again. We're just like a little
Oh,
confused, so like we crossed that out, and then we learned the last minute. I'm like, oh no, that's a different Chris. We're like, oops.
oh,
Oh well, we got an open slot, so me and Corey
okay.
found out. So that's when I tracked you down and be like, hey, I signed you up.
So wait, what happened with that other Chris? Did he just not
I don't.
show up?
I have no idea. It was way before Chris Bernstorff set.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, it was a whole situation. Yeah, and you guys texted me. It's like, oh hey, you're playing. Like, oh okay, I need an acoustic guitar and I need this and that. Um, and so we made it work. I guess the trouble was is that my voice has been rough the past few weeks because of allergies and such. And so I tried to hit some of those high notes especially in the new song that we tried to do, "Feed My Lambs," and it was rough. So,
Not that I can tell.
well, there was that one that was very obvious. I feel like it was like, "Do I love you? Do I?"
Well, if it was, I don't remember because, like, man, I was sleep deprived.
Oh,
Well,
sure,
I have been sleep deprived for the past week, so I don't remember like in specifics on some.
Well, the
on
good
some
thing
parts
was
of
is
the
that
weekend.
not that many people were there to watch. I mean, most people that were there were like looking at like all the merch tables that were there outside the
Yeah, but I
tent.
still count that as a crowd.
Sure, yeah. Well, it's neither here nor there. I'm glad that you guys made it happen for me, but I'm gonna do my best to make the next time I do it better. So,
All right.
and hopefully I'll have some sort of full band to play with, or at least like a backing track or something. Because for me, I'm actually not that much of a like acoustic guitar player. Like I can get
Okay,
by.
that's as a eyewitness and longtime friend, I can confirm that as well. But he does his best.
Yeah, I try. I am more of a keyboard player. I mean, that's basically how I write most of my music is on the keyboard, and then just kind of build everything around that. Um, but yeah, enough about my set. It was only 15 minutes. I guess one thing that I will say before we go into a break, um, one thing that I kind of regret about this year and kind of about last year that I want to figure out how to change next year is, and this is on me. This has nothing to do with Audiofeed itself. I I don't want to. I don't think I want to do the table thing anymore. I'd like to figure out some other way to, I don't know, either be involved in Audiofeed if I can, and if I can't, just figure out some other way to like be there and like promote the I'm Clifford Today stuff, but also be able to be like present at Audiofeed. I kind of felt like for a lot of it, I was very like just like I felt stuck to my table for most of it, and kind of feel like I missed out on a lot this year. Um,
Yeah, and
there.
I'm gonna yeah, and I'm gonna tell you about it right after the break.
Okay.
I got stories, guys.
Oh yeah, I want to hear it, and I'll talk about the sets that I have seen. But I just felt bad because, like, I mean, there were times where I could have gone and seen my friends, but like, I'd like give the excuse. They're like, "Oh, I have to be here at the table, you know, and see if anyone's gonna buy anything," which uh, I actually didn't do that great. So
Mm.
that just has to be figured out. I just have to figure something new out for that, anyways, because it doesn't seem to be a system that's working. Where I just have my shirts out on the table, and even with me playing my videos on a screen, it doesn't really seem to garner much sales, especially if people don't know me. So I'm gonna figure something out. I'm gonna talk to Kevin and see um, how we can like help out each other. But the big deal for me is that like I just felt like I didn't fully experience everything that I could have experienced. I still had a wonderful and great time, and I'm still missing audio feed. I'm like going through audio feed withdrawals, you know. Um, but I'm definitely going to change things if I can for next year. Um, so, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about like the things that we actually experienced in a few minutes once we get through this break, and we'll get to the nitty gritty, and after that we'll talk about the Ann Wilson stuff. So,
All right.
all right, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Yeah.
This time on the Podwood Forecast.
He does.
If you can't catch it, never go around it. Can't push me out of fighting.
Cough core.
Never gonna give it, never gonna give it up. No. All right, next question. How old then in limit cut? What the?
4.
No, that is not an option.
Anyways, I was at lunch and I have like a very strong memory of legitimately getting in a fight with another kid. Not like a physical fight. We were like sitting, just like arguing over
Flying
who was like a
fists.
bigger Spyro fan. And one of my reasons for being the bigger Spyro fan was I told him, well, purple's my favorite color. And he was like, oh man, he's like, dang it, red is my favorite color. Ah, shoot. And
truly
I was
bested me with
lying.
that.
Green was my favorite color, but I lived the lie of purple being my favorite color, and it is now
Wow. The truth come out on this podcast.
as a kid, it's my favorite color now. Darkness imprisoning me all around me.
Oh, I see absolute horror.
See, I don't know, for some
Listen
reason
to
I
the
forgot
Podwood
real-
Forecast wherever podcasts are found.
Guys, I just got done with a video call interview for the show, and I have to say that it was like the smoothest experience ever. Didn't have any issues or anything, and the video came out almost perfect. And do you know why? It's because I used Riverside. Riverside is your online recording studio where you can record a conversation with any guest online. You can easily record podcasts and videos in studio quality from anywhere, all from your browser or their mobile app. All you have to do is get your setup ready, send your guests a link for them to join, have them join from their phone or their computer, and just chat away. A lot of podcasts that you listen to are probably using Riverside, honestly. What sets Riverside apart is that a recording of your audio and your video is happening locally on your computer. So even if your connection isn't that good, it doesn't ruin the entire recording or anything. Once you've finished recording, you will get the individual tracks of each speaker and also a combined one. You'll receive all the raw files, including that Pepsi crystal clear uncompressed audio and up to 4K video. There's also lots of really cool features where you can edit your video right in their site. So, you're a YouTuber, a podcaster, or streamer, or a content creator of any kind, and you want to have high quality conversations with your guests, please use my link in the description and sign up for Riverside. If you want to support me in the channel, please use my link since I end up getting a cut from the sales. I'm not joking. Please support me. Sign up for Riverside and start recording today.
Hey you. Are you a Christian artist, musical artist, or a musical artist who is a Christian? Well, you got music. You got music that you made. You got music that you're trying to get out there. Do you want it to be on my show? Well, it can be. And here's how. You go to the link in the description, submit a form, fill that all out, send me your music, and we'll get the song of your choice on this segment, the Spotlight segment, and the whole world will hear your music. And it's gonna be great. And I'm out of breath for some reason. Be a Spotlight artist today. Maybe not today, in the next episode. But it's gonna be fun. It's completely free. All I ask is that you promote the show, promote the episode that your song is on, and that's it. That's all I ask. But I want to support you. I want to support other Christian artists and get your stuff out there. So, yeah. Let's do it, baby. Spotlight artist, become one. Be it. Yeah. That's the ad. All right. We're bringing it back in.
Yay!
Thanks for not going away and going through all those ads and such. I appreciate it. It means a lot. But we're back now. We are so back, and we're going to talk more audio feed stuff. So I want to go through. Well, first of all, yeah, I will say that with all the stuff that I was complaining about earlier, I did have a great time, and one of the things that I love about audio feed that it's become, it's still about the music, but like for me it's more so about connecting with all the people that I have made friendships with over there. And I mean, you, Nick, but I can see you almost anytime.
Oh yeah.
But like all the other people that I've made relationships with, like even the ones, like if you guys have seen my What is Audio Feed documentary, it's like I've made some relationships there. I got to hang out with Benjamin Daniel, which was great. And I also got to meet a couple more people that I'd never met before, but we'd like talked like online. I got to hang out with Scott Freiberger, who is one of the writers and frequent co-host for Jesus Freak Hideout and the Jesus Freak Hideout podcast. We'd like communicated before and such over like social media and everything, but we'd never actually met each other. So I got to hang out with him, and I also got to hang out with Phil Hawkins, who is a writer for Tuned Up, like the Tuned Up Lounge and everything. And
Oh yeah.
we had recently been like connecting over social media as well, and then we all found out that because he was also friends with Scott, and so we kind of just like all connected and got to hang out, and so I got to know them, and so that was really cool. And it was cool to meet someone else from. It was actually kind of cool because you had me from I'm Clifford Today, and Scott from JFH, and Phil from Tuned Up. So it was like the meetings of like the Christian music review world, kind of. Even though Tuned Up doesn't just talk about Christian music, they talk about secular as well. So that was really cool to do that. But just like connecting with other people like Corey, Saint and Pine Hills is great. Hanging out with him and that whole group from Florida, basically, like Michael and Alan and such. And I also got to meet Lauren, who did the new artwork for Podwood Forecast. We never actually introduced ourselves. And she's a fire breather, Fired by Night on Instagram. But I got to meet her too, and trying to think, Kirby as well. He's the guy like
You
running
met the Kirby?
Well, I'd already met him because he was the one who got me to do the interviews that I did last year. Because it was his stage, and so but it was good to see him, and of course it was good to see like Kevin Schlureth there, and I got to like meet and like talk to Ryan Getz. I hadn't talked to him before, but we had some we got to connect a lot this year, and so that was really really cool. And they're he and Kevin are doing a great job at I guess carrying the torch for audio feed. And so
They have been.
so yeah, that was really cool. So that's one of the big important things for me at audio feed is those relationships, because audio feed is definitely like they've got like their own, it's like a family. I'm sure everyone will say it, but yeah, it's an audio feed family. And so that's really special. And also a lot of the music was great too, and I got to see, I mean, aside from, I had great conversations with Make Sure and John Van Dusen, and you guys will see that, but they also just had great sets as well, great music. So why don't you go ahead, Nick, and talk? I mean, if you had any other highlights that you wanted to mention, or if you just wanted to go into like some of the acts that you saw that you liked.
Yeah, I'll tell you about I'll tell you about some stories that I have before
Sure,
and
yeah.
during Audiofeed. Then we can share about our favorite acts.
Yeah.
So before Audiofeed, I mentioned the house show the day prior to it starting. So I
Yeah,
had
with AG and such.
a G and E-Ray, and I started off the night with the silly song that my godfather shared me last year called "Ghost Chickens in the Sky."
Okay.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds amazing.
yeah. Yep. So we had that. Lots of different theology talk after the show. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
pitched in a few different conversations, and then everything died down. AG packed up and drove out to wherever they were staying. And I mentioned to my friend Nathan. I'm like, "Hey, my puppet Loretta is over there." So specifically, it's a flamingo puppet.
I didn't see that you brought that.
No, I
That's
didn't bring
cool.
puppets.
Oh, you didn't?
I do.
Okay.
It's like I do have them. Like I've used them for my YouTube channel.
Right.
Yeah,
But this
and
was
then-
someone else's puppet.
No, this is my puppet.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was my
trying to
puppet.
track along.
So it was
I'm
he
doing
played
my
that.
best.
Yeah. So he played with that for a little bit, and then our friend Kashif played with it for a bit, and then it went downhill fast. Because like all the impressions he was doing with Loretta, I mean, I was crying by the end of that. I must have been laughing hard for it felt like 2 minutes straight.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. That was a highlight, and getting all stuff, and then getting stuff together for the City of Yanni Depp Chariot cover set.
Yeah.
It took a few months of some months of planning. I had that dream for 5 years, for the past 5 years, after watching a Me Without You cover set that Nat Fitzgerald and a couple of friends put together.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that
year.
happened.
Yeah, so I was inspired by that, and I was like, man,
I was thinking that
what...
someone needed to do a Me Without You cover set, but I guess that already happened.
Yeah, sorry, dude, you missed out.
Oh, well.
But there is
It's my fault.
I mean, there's still a live set video from that year you can watch.
I'll have to seek that out for sure.
Yeah,
I was thinking it could be cool that if I did end up getting the Sherwood Forest impromptu band together, or maybe even if it's not even a band, to do the All Circles cover. No, we did. I think I thought that would be perfect for audio feed. But yeah, anyways, continue.
Yeah, and then in the middle of it we sang orange spiders, orange leaves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Classic.
And then so I hired Sean Penn to record bits of it, of that set list, and I recorded 2 different angles of it as well, and then Corey gave me some film from that set as well. So all I gotta do at some point this week is just put those together and
nice. Yeah, because I
change
ended up
change the filter on his clips specifically.
Yeah, to make it fit the video.
Yeah, he did warn me, and I did see it ahead of time that all of the footage that he put together was vertical. I mean, that's fine. I can work with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was something that I had to miss. Something that I didn't mention today. I don't know if I mentioned before, but
no,
there's basically
he had to work.
Yeah,
Clifford had to work. That's why he missed out on some of it. But
I missed out on a lot. I missed out on karaoke, and there's a bunch of other sets that I had to miss, unfortunately.
I forgot. Did you get to see My Epic or no?
Oh, I did. Yeah, because I did.
You did. I missed it because here's another story. So it was Yeah, like 2 or 3 hours. I think E-Ray played at 8 o'clock
Mhm.
on the Bloodline stage, and and I'll say for all the mosh pits that happened, it was it was the most wild one
Yeah.
out of the whole weekend. Let me explain. So they had one song. So like at the intro, it's like, and then it slowed down. So I was in the pit going ham, like
Yeah.
swinging around as hard as I can, but then, and I was pretty sure it was very poor timing. I had my arm down, and then I got whacked, boom,
Oh yeah,
on
you're
the
telling me
forehead,
about
on
that.
the forehead.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't get knocked out, thankfully. I was like,
You got like
it was
half
just-
concussed.
no, thankfully not.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'm done, I'm out.
Gosh.
So I asked my friend Jada, "You all right?" I'm like, just give me an ice pack.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yo, doing
Probably
okay?"
sit
I'm like,
down for a minute.
I barely sat down for a minute, like
Yeah.
after that. But I was like, are you okay? I'm like, honestly, I am not quite sure yet. Let me drop
That's a
by.
sign to just keep
Let's
sitting
drop
down
by.
for a minute.
Yeah. I think if I had just sat down for a minute, I wouldn't have to miss so much because I was like, okay, all right, as a fail safe, I'll just drop by to the ER
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just in case. I don't know. I never experienced that before. I've been hit in the pit before. I just haven't experienced getting hit like that before
Yeah.
on the head. I mean, yeah, I've got hit in the jaw pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
One time when I was 18, and so like,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Kevin gave
Yeah,
me
I
a
haven't
quick
had a whole lot of
chauffeur.
experiences like that.
Yeah, so Kevin gave me a quick chauffeur to the front gate, and Josh Stone kind of like carpooled me and accompanied me for a little bit at
Mm-hmm.
the ER for a little bit. It was man, it was so boring. I kept texting my dad back and forth, and it's like he was like, it was like waiting in the waiting room and then getting settled into a private room for like an hour. I was like,
Yeah.
no one showed up. No one showed up. That's all right. I was like, that. My dad was like, Nick, if you're being this consistent, you're fine. Just go. I'm like, are you? I was like, are you sure? I don't want. Is it? It's okay.
Yeah, if you're still of sound
I was
mind
only
right
worried
now.
about getting. I was only worried about getting billed.
Oh yeah.
Then the injury. That was my only concern. He was like, nah. Excuse me. He's like, nah, just go. I'm like, okay. So I missed my epic. I missed Impending Doom, but I did get to talk to the front man, Brooke Reeves, for a bit.
Okay.
So I was like, so I asked him, I was like, do you guys know the next time next tour date you guys will be around? They're like, yeah, I don't know yet. I was like, okay, whenever they come, whenever Impending Doom comes back to Illinois or maybe St. Louis, I'll properly see them again for the second time.
Sure. I remember
Yeah, that
seeing
was fun.
Impending Doom. They played at the Castle a few years ago. A while ago. Probably over 10 years ago. They because they were with For Today and I think Sleeping Giant.
I think I heard about that one.
Yeah. And I was really into like all those bands, especially For Today back then. So that was a really
for the
exciting tour for me. I think Sleeper was there too.
that
Maybe
makes
not.
sense. Yeah. What impressed me, speaking of Sleeping Giant, Tommy Green,
Mhm.
there were so back last Friday, there were so many people wearing Holy Name shirts.
I saw some of
like,
those, yeah.
I saw like a lot of them, and I'm like, hey, what's your favorite Holy Name? What's your favorite Holy Name song? And that also made me think, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have worn mine today. So then I ended up wearing mine the next day.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, I saw some people in the Audiofeed Facebook community requesting for them to be at Audiofeed.
And me and Ryan were
sometime.
Ryan Gertz were talking about that as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe it could happen. I suggested a lot of people to Ryan. We had a whole conversation about that. But yeah, so I was able to see Yeah, because I got off work and I got to there in time to see Ongoing Concept, which was one of the priority bands for me to see, and My Epic. They were right after. So I was glad that I got to see them. So, but sorry that you had to miss that. You had to go to the ER, but I'm glad that you're doing okay. That's
Physically, yeah. Other stuff, I'm like,
yeah. Oh well.
I'm getting there.
It's very rare, as far as I know, for people to actually. I don't think many people have actually gotten hurt at Audiofeed.
No, not really.
As many like mosh pits as there are, people are pretty pretty respectful of each other, which makes sense. Knowing Audiofeed. I will say that I'm not actually much of a mosher myself, and I wanted to get this
as a
out.
longtime friend, I can confirm that as well.
But the one time that I did mosh, kinda, sorta, was at the surprise performance of Florida Man.
Yeah.
On the
Florida
on
Man
the
set.
green,
I
on the grass.
loved seeing that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So what Florida Man basically was like a super group. You had the members of Windwards, Saint and Pine Hills, and I'm blanking on Pocket Shot.
Pocket Shot, yeah.
Yeah, Pocket Shot. Yeah. So basically all those guys from Florida. They basically just formed a whole group, and it wasn't like scheduled or anything. They just set up on the green lawn right by the there's like a road that goes through the park, and they just set up there and did an impromptu set, and they did some covers. They did some of their own material from like Saint and Pine Hills and Pocket Shot and Windwards. Maybe, I don't know if they actually did Windwards music, but
I don't think so.
But yeah, it was just a little thing that they put together. And like I said, I'm not much of a mosher, but I think the big reason why I don't is because I'm a little nervous when it comes to like large groups of people and like large mosh pits and such. So I don't feel safe with that. But it was like such a small group of people. I mean, it was a good amount of people that came to see them, but it was still like a very, small condensed group of people. And I guess I felt I must have been
felt
pumped.
safer because there was pool noodles.
Yeah. And blown up alligators. Yeah.
And beach balls.
Yeah, the whole set was just the theme was just Florida. Like they had audio of this guy. I don't know if it was like a TikTok video or what, but this guy just talking about Florida and such, and it was almost like he was preaching kind of. And oh yeah, and that was the other thing, is that all the covers they did were from bands from Florida.
And
that included Creed and right, was it Creed? Yeah, Creed, Under Oath, and trying to remember if there was another one. I can't really remember, but I guess I was just like so pumped up and hyped up because they're all great guys, and they were just having a lot of fun, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna party hard, and I did.
That's right.
But it was like in a very kind of safe setting, where I didn't feel like I was gonna get trampled or anything. And we're all just like goofing around anyways, because like I wouldn't say like I don't really know like the right moves when it comes to moshing, so I probably would look like an idiot if I actually tried in like at an actual
we all
show.
do.
Sure, yeah, but I just feel self-conscious. But everyone was just being silly, and so I just went with it. I was also wearing my fedora hat, so I was kind of like lifting it up in the air it was a cowboy hat, So it was just a lot of fun, and that was like one of the big highlights of Audiofeed for me. It was just a lot of fun. Like it gave like Me Without You front porch step set kind of vibes. Actually, I don't remember if because Me Without You was discovered that they I can't remember if the Cornerstone equivalent of front porch step was actually called front porch. Oh, I keep saying front
I
porch
don't
step.
know.
That's a band. That's a that's a guy. You know what I mean? The front porch stage. I can't remember if that's what it was called in Cornerstone, but it kind of gave off those vibes where like if you watch the video of it, is it's just this band that nobody knew, but then everyone is just going crazy because it was a lot of fun. So so that was a highlight for me for sure, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get that out of the
And
way.
there was like, yeah, and there were some other sets like the other white meat, and some of the members helped me do the chariot set, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't remember if it was a G for their set or somebody else. Excuse me. So like, what
You're
happened was we randomly like came together on the ground and just did like a rowing team
good.
kind of thing together on the ground.
Okay.
There's some video for that.
I think
I was
I
like,
saw
oh,
that.
everyone's rowing. I was like, when I saw that, going on, I was like, oh, everyone's rowing. I'll join in. Whoop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw that in one of the highlight videos or something. I wasn't sure where that was from, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And of course, for a G set, we succeeded in doing another super long chorus line, which is like we
Like
got
doing a
everybody paired up
two-step.
in a. Oh yeah, whoop,
Nice.
hop, hop, hop. We.
Yeah, I wish there was a bit of that in the Florida Man set. I wish that I was hearing a lot of hype with a G, and that was one of the sets that I wish that I went to see.
Oh yeah, and they really they had like such an amazing time. It was like one of their best favorite shows
Yeah.
they've ever done in my basement, like right here.
Oh
This is where they
yeah.
played.
Yeah, I wish I was there for that too. I couldn't make it out to it, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so let's see. I wanted to go through the ones that I saw. I only saw like a minute of Impending Doom. I think it was getting pretty late, so I didn't really stay. John Van Dusen, of course, he was great. He played last year, but it was a solo set. So I was
Yeah.
excited about this one because he had a full band with him. Well, it was like a 3-piece band, but it was still great. And the problem was is that stage, I can't remember the name of the stage. It was the tuned up lounge stage basically, and they were running behind because of some technical difficulties. They were like an hour behind. Because I was surprised that when I got there, I think it had something to do with the Impending Doom set. I don't know. But basically, like I got there and like it wasn't John Van Dusen playing; it was the band before. I was like, "What's going on?" And Corey was there and was like, "Yeah, they're running behind." So, unfortunately, John had to cut his set a bit short. And the set was great. He had a lot of fun energy, and that was really cool. But he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a few more songs, but we got to keep things running." So, but then he was like, "You know what? If I can get an acoustic guitar, I'll play an acoustic set outside." And so he did, and like a bunch of us crowded around him and just kind of sat in the grass, and he played a few more of his songs, and that was
Nice.
that was really cool. Like that made it like really memorable. Like his actual set was really great, but like that was just kind of like the cherry on top. It was like very, very intimate, and just really cool. So it was a happy accident, that just ended up working out and just making it memorable. So yeah, John was great. My Epic was also great. They played a lot of music from their new album, which we're going to be talking about at the end. And I I feel like I enjoyed it a bit more than I did last time I saw them. I believe they played last year.
They did.
Yeah, but I didn't really have as much of a connection with their music. Like I knew them and I knew like a couple of their songs, but wasn't like a super fan or anything. But this time around, since I've been really enjoying their new album, I felt like I enjoyed it a lot more than I probably would have before. So and well, they sounded great and put on a good show. So no, I mean not much else to say about it, but they played a lot of their new stuff and it was cool. um,
Yeah.
let's see. There was also the ongoing concept. They played last year. They actually did 2 sets last year because they were playing their album Saloon in full.
Mm.
And but this year is just a normal set list, and as usual, they are just they were a lot of fun. They still don't have there's a brother who is a part of the band who shares the vocals, and he wasn't able to be there last year because he's taking care of his family. I think he had a new kid, and he still wasn't able to join this year. I don't know why, but he just wasn't there. So but they still do a great job, and the vocalist does a really great job at like I don't know, some of the notes that he hits, and he's it's kind of amazing that he's able to like tour and be able to do that. so the ongoing concept was a lot of fun. They have a great stage presence, and I love their music. So that's basically all the headliners that I saw. Um,
Yep. Let's see. For me, I got to sit down for a breaking. I'm sorry. Every time I see Benjamin, I keep thinking Breaking Benjamin. I did see them this year, though. Anyway,
so Breaking Benjamin Daniel.
I saw Breaking Benjamin
Daniel needs to have he needs to make. He was saying how he hasn't made a T-shirt yet, and so he needs to make one where it's the Breaking Benjamin logo, but it's his name though.
Yeah.
There's an idea, Ben.
I got to sit down to watch most of Benjamin Daniel's set for the first time finally this year.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I saw a little bit of. Oh yeah, it was good, very good. Well done, sir.
Very good.
And
I saw him
Christian
too.
Welch with his spoken word stuff. I saw bits of that on one of those nights that I was doing the open mic.
Yeah.
Saw a good amount of convictions on the Bloodline stage on the last night. Den's as well.
I saw
my
Den's
boys
too.
That was proud.
That was my first time seeing Den's, and
nice.
It was really good. I had been wanting to see them because for some reason Spotify thinks that fans of Sherwood Forest listen to Den's, which maybe they do because it's the Audiofeed crowd. And I got to meet them too. One of the guys was wearing a Brian Sauvé shirt, which I've talked about Brian Sauvé on the show before, and I love his music. So I talked to him about that. But they put on a good show, and I bought one of their shirts because I loved the design of it, the one with the owls on it. It was really cool. So yeah, Den's was great.
Yeah, I know. The iconic Insomniac Folklore played.
I still
saw a bit of it.
I haven't seen their
distance,
sets,
but I didn't watch none.
Okay,
they are very different each year.
Oh yeah,
I know that, but the vibe is still there.
Sure,
same vibes.
That's cool.
Yep, that's all. Yeah, do you remember Jacob Goins from last year?
Yeah, that was another guy I got to.
I caught a bit
with.
of this set. Yeah,
I missed his set, but yeah. How did
Corey,
he do?
Like we were. So like, what was funny was me and Corey was like, yeah, let's go watch Jacob Goins. I was like, okay. So we got there, we watched him play, and then turned out that was his last song. We're like, what? But we just got here. Dang it.
Oh man.
And I missed Kept on Hold because I had bad timing. And I thought they were
Yeah.
I thought Andrew was playing later. Kevin, of course.
Yeah.
Man. Saw Loon the band open the fest. I got to see Meadows again.
Mm-hmm.
And we all shouted,
Yeah, I saw
"Go
Meadows, too.
Robbers!"
Yeah, I was happy that they played that.
No treaty was fine. Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw my boys of Oyar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Got to jump around on stage and scream for like a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then it faded to black. Rick Time. This was Rick Time's first audio feed.
Okay.
I would usually see them play around Bloomington. They still tour around Bloomington after several years.
I guess I never heard them.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, saw good old Daniel of Rosemont on the first day. Yep, always great hearing him sing. I don't remember if I saw a little bit of Castro's, but I saw the line. I watched a bit of Richie's set as the Lionhearted before I went on.
Mm-hmm.
Got my stuff up. Got to chit chat a bit with good old Father Joel David Ware. He's a singer songwriter and a Orthodox priest from Crawfordsville, Indiana.
Okay.
So he's good friends with a few people there. A few friends of mine that are Orthodox as well.
Sure.
And then let's see. Yes, everyone, I am going alphabetical because that's.
Yeah, I think we're both just reading off the lineup.
With the exception of Father Joel. Spaceships.
Yeah.
It's all spaceships. I watched a bit of V8 Vast Changes hip hop set.
Oh, yep.
Back on Thursday night.
Dominique. Yep.
Yeah, good old Dominique.
I went to youth
I
group
missed
with
out.
him.
I missed out on Turtle Doves. And then I also had bad timing because Chris Bernstorff's wife, Amanda, she has a music
Visitor
project as
Pass.
well called Visitor. I missed that.
Yeah, me too.
I think I had bad timing.
Yeah, Visitor Pass.
But Richie did tell me they filmed the whole set, so I'm gonna wait for that to upload.
Yeah, both Chris and Visitor Pass. They've been featured artists on the Spotlight segment here on the show. And I missed them. But yeah, I caught up with Chris there. So I got to meet him in person for the first time. It was very sweet.
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of people. Like, I feel like that I have made a good group of friends over there, but there's still so many people that I have yet to like make any connections with, you know? So
yeah,
I don't know. That's my fault for just being the guy that just sticks around at his table the whole time. But it is what it is. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, but the food trucks there were good.
Food trucks, yeah. Always get the Mexican one.
Yeah, that was my only downside to Audiofeed this year. They didn't have their deep fryer food truck.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a big one too.
I was expecting to have myself some deep fried Oreos and a deep fried cheesecake.
Oh gosh, I didn't even know they had deep fried Oreos.
Yeah, they did.
Man, I wonder if they had deep fried Snickers bars. I haven't had one of those in years. But
they probably
if they have the Oreos, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
There's some other ones. Some of the like smaller. I don't want to call them smaller bands, but they're not the headliners. So yeah, Benjamin Daniel, he was great as always. Played a lot of his new stuff. Dens. I didn't see Empty Atlas. I really wanted to see them, but I missed them. Gaffer Project was my first time seeing Gaffer Project this year.
What?
And, yeah,
Man.
that was a great set. It was very I love the simplicity of it. You know, with like the light show, like they just had the one set of lights that just came on every so often, and it was just the two of them. Jordan is Jordan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he gave me this haircut actually. um,
And he
it's the
gave me
second
this
haircut.
haircut.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Okay.
Jordan and the drummer that he had, and
Richie.
Richie. Sorry,
Bless you.
thank you. And yeah, so, some of those like two-piece bands, you're just so surprised with like the sound that comes out of them, and they did great. They put on a great show, so I was glad to finally see them.
Yeah, it was a big deal this year because they finally released their new album.
Oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
to check that one out for sure.
Yeah, Jordan told me that like they don't have it out on streaming platforms yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had all their CD copies for sale.
Gotcha.
So I brought home one.
That's a good idea. You know, sell them before they're out for like the public to be able to listen to them. That makes sense. Um, make sure. I actually missed most of it because I had to set up the interview that I was having with him was like going to be right after his set, and I didn't have anything set up yet. So I was like listening to it as I was setting it up, and then I caught like his last song, so I felt bad, but
Man.
he was fine with it. um, and then Meadows, it was great to see them again. And they put on a great show. Rusty Vining, he also played. He was one of the early like spotlight artists that I've had on, and so I finally got to meet him in person, and I saw his set, and it was cool because he had two other people playing with him. He had a violin player and an accordion player, and it sounded awesome. And
Yeah.
he was also supposed to play for the Rich Mullins tribute thing, which I was planning on seeing, but when I got there, it was like it was pretty late, and he was like on the stage, but I didn't get to see his part. But I'm sure he did great because like his music has like very big like Rich Mullins vibes. Like I can see the influence that he's had on him, so I'm sure he fit well in that. So sorry, Rusty, I didn't see that part, but his
and
solo.
I forgot to mention, Freddie Lasumbe.
Oh yeah,
in his hip hop set. That was fun.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, in our audio feed Facebook group had like a hashtag challenge called "Spread the Fred." So if you see Fred, take a selfie with him.
I think I saw that actually.
So I was like, "Oh, that's what it is. Spread the Fred." Yeah, that was fun. That was funny.
Cool.
It was good. And even during his set, he did a Star Wars song that he wrote.
Nice. Oh man. That reminds me, there was another band that I just kind of like happened to walk in, and I think it was I know the lead singer was like this tall guy, and he looked like a hippie kind of, like a long beard and glasses, and they had like a saxophone player. He was playing acoustic, and there was a keyboard player, a drummer, and a guitar player. And he had like just great stage presence. I want to say that it was the Noisy Do-Gooders, or maybe the Maggie Valley Band. Maybe not Maggie Valley, because that sounds like it's a girl. But they had one of those names where it was like the something somethings. Maybe someone out there could help me out with that, but I thought that they sounded really good, but I wasn't there for their whole set.
Did this act have particular matching uniforms?
Yeah, they had like a. I can't remember what it was, but I remember they had like some sort of theme going on.
Let me see again. Keep talking. I'm gonna look up the name.
Sure, yeah. So let's see. Is there anyone else that I saw? Um, no, not really. Yeah, there was a lot that I missed, and I feel really bad. I will say, shout out to Ravenhill. Um, I kind of like in passing met the lead singer of Ravenhill, and he seemed pretty cool. He was mostly talking to like the other people, like he was talking to Scott
Yeah.
Freiberger and Phil Hawkins, and he knew them more. I didn't know who he was, but they were having a conversation. And when we finally like introduced ourselves, he's like, "Oh, you got a YouTube channel, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got good stuff." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And it was cool because like he was talking about like hanging out with like Bear Reinhardt from Need to Breathe and such, and like all these people
Mm.
that he knows. I'm like, oh man, it's kind of a big deal. So shout out to him, to Ravenhill. Uh, glad to meet. We'll have to have some further conversations for sure. But yeah, I think that was about it that
Okay,
I
I
that
think
I
I got
saw.
it.
You found it?
I think I think it's called Joe Bauman and the Righteous Few. Is that the one
Yes,
you're
that
talking
was
about?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was like the something something whatever. But yeah, Joe Bauman and the
Something,
Righteous
something,
Few.
something dark side.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that rings a bell right there. So yeah, the little bit that I saw of their set, they were really fun. Um I also said that I missed Taylor Leonhardt because I've been getting
Yeah.
into more of her music, and my sisters actually really love her music. So unfortunately, I missed out on that. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess to wrap up with like closing thoughts, I yeah, I'm gonna do my best to make my audio feed experience better for next year, um, and just like going out to see more sets and just hanging out with people more rather than like expecting people to come to my table. I want to be more mobile and figure that out. But I'm already really excited for next year. I mean, they've already got like
Mm-hmm.
tickets on sale, so that's really cool because like um, we're kind of in a period where it's like, you know, the future of like indie festivals and such is kind of uncertain right now, and so it's like, you know, I get a little nervous about for audio feed, you know, kind of like I love it myself, and I'm going to be going every year that I can, but it's like, oh man, I want more people to know about it, and I don't know if enough people are coming to support it. So like to hear them say like, yes, we're doing it next year is really relieving and refreshing. So I'm already excited for it, and I can't wait for them to be start announcing the lineups. And if anything, like I even said this like on a post I made in social media, like audio feed is basically my summer camp, you know?
It's my summer camp too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like both of us. Yeah. It's, or I guess some people call it scamp or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say it too, but I was like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
our. It's sober scamp. I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. It's just, I mean, not only is it a great time for music, but it's a great time of community, you know, and just having good, deep conversations with people, and just, yeah,
Yep, and that's something we've definitely both had.
mm-hmm.
Well, not with each other, but with several mutual friends and new people along the way as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that I finally started going to audio feed after all those years of missing out. And
I'm very happy for Clifford.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I have a lot to be grateful for with audio feed. I mean, it's kind of been a with like this channel, um it's a combination of audio feed and like the connections I've made over CCM Twitter, but I think those kind of go hand in hand because it's some of the same people, but I've been able to have like so many like cool opportunities for this channel because of audio feed, all the connections I've made, and I guess it it started with like the documentary that I made that a lot of people have given me a lot of good feedback on. I'm still getting people. I was getting people coming up to my table this year, being like, "Oh yeah, I saw that," So that's really cool, and being able to have the interviews that I've had, and I'm excited for you guys to check out the ones that I did this year. Those are, which, speaking of like good, long, deep conversations, definitely had that with John, but especially with Make Sure. We got pretty deep with that once, but it was great. So, but yeah,
Great.
audio feed. I can't give it enough of my approval, honestly. I hope it goes on forever, and I will do my best to make that happen. And
Me too.
yeah, and I'm disappointed in Mitchell. I invited him to come with me because I had an extra ticket, and
Come on,
he
Mitchell.
didn't. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe next year, because especially if I try to do a Sherwood Forest band gig, I'll try to get him to
yeah.
come for sure.
We'll steal him. We'll
Yeah.
steal him away.
We'll kidnap him. He'll be married by then, but
Part of me thought he already is.
no, not yet. That's October.
Not yet.
So
Okay.
So yeah, well, I'm sure Abby will be fine with us
Yeah.
kidnapping him. But
Yeah.
yeah, any closing thoughts on audio feed? Or should we get to it?
You wrapped it up.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, y'all ready for this? It's time for our humble opinion.
Wait. Wait.
I gotcha. Yeah.
You're gonna skip over Ann Wilson?
Oh, right. I thought Ann Wilson was part of the humble opinion thing.
No.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I retract.
No,
and now let's talk about a particular song that was buzzing called "Songs About Whiskey" by Ann Wilson.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So
now I'm gonna pull up the. All right, now I'm gonna go pull up the lyrics so I can keep track.
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
some of you guys, maybe you guys. I mean, this is kind of old news.
Yeah.
But I
And for
feel
me,
like it's.
let me tell you, when Clifford told me about this song, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I'll say my first comment, that was a great debate. Thanks for the clickbait, Ann.
Yeah, it is kind of clickbaity, and I saw one person kind of commenting about that, which we'll get into it. So I've talked about Ann Wilson on the show before. She's not all of her music is really my thing, but I have some respect for her because she's doing something a little different that other artists that are in the CCM mainstream aren't doing. She's kind of pushing boundaries. I like the fact that she's like an actual country artist, and she's not doing like the Christian diet country. Like, she's pretty much country through and through. In fact, I think she has seen some success on country music charts as well as Christian.
Okay.
But she had a new album come out, which I will, full disclosure, I haven't listened to the whole album. It's called Rebels, though. And one of the songs that she released, I believe it was a single, is a little song with the title "Songs About Whiskey," which, when you first see that title, it's gonna make anyone's
like,
head turn.
what?
It's like, what
Like
is
that.
this?
Like that. Yeah. Like that.
Yeah, and cock your head. What? Talking about whiskey? You can't do that. You're a Christian. Christians don't sing about alcohol. So basically, I'm just gonna read this article from Charisma News. So Christian musician, sorry, faces. Again, I guess I'm nervous about this topic. Christian musician faces backlash for songs about whiskey. Christian music artist Ann Wilson is facing backlash for her new tune, Songs About Whiskey. The singer, who first rose to fame for her hit single, My Jesus, has some of her fans concerned because of her reference to alcohol in this latest song. Speaking with Crosswalk Headlines, Wilson says that some have been worried she's gone off the deep end. Quote from Ann Wilson: I've had some fans reach out already and be like, okay, no, that kind of worries me. Like, have you gone off the deep end? Have you left God behind? Wilson says. She encourages these fans, who immediately look at the title of the song without listening to the lyrics, to take the time to deep dive into its meaning before criticizing it. Which, to me, I don't think you really have to do that deep of a dive. You just listen to the song and you know
Yeah.
what it's about. But I'll just keep reading. I'm like, just wait and listen to the song and then come back to me, Wilson says. The chorus of the song actually uses references to country music songs about alcohol and other worldly pleasures not being enough to fill and stir the soul in the same way music about Jesus does. And this is the lines from the chorus. I've heard songs about.
Ooh, I want to read.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll do it. Okay, so so the first half of the chorus says, "I've heard songs about Jack Daniels, songs about Jim Beam, not persons, what types of whiskey.
Right.
Heard songs about one night regrets, neon and nicotine. Guys, I've heard too many songs about neon lights. Country music fans are thirsty about neon lights for some reason. I don't know how or why. Neon clothing, etc., etc. Anyway, it says neon and nicotine. And then the second half is, I guess I'm just kind of fixed on the only thing that ever fixed me. That's why I sing songs about Jesus instead of singing songs about whiskey.
Yeah.
So she's straight up front about what she's doing.
Right.
What she's still consistently doing.
Yeah. The song really does not like contradict anything at all. I mean, okay. Full disclosure here. Me personally, I don't have a problem with alcohol.
Me neither.
Yeah, we have both been known to enjoy a drink from time to time. So we're not those kinds of Christians that think that, if you sip any kind of alcoholic drink that you're sinning. However, I will say
that is completely a Protestant thing.
Yeah. For some reason. Although most Reformed bros are pretty okay with alcohol, But yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. I mean, I was kind of raised in that way where alcohol was sinful, and I will say, of course, alcoholism is a thing, and the Bible is very clear about like drunkenness and how that's a sin right there. And if you have an alcoholic problem, then you should find some recovery.
That's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. And I even saw some people commenting, I can't remember where it was, but I saw someone who their main objection to the song was like, well, this could be a trigger for someone, like mentioning like all these brand names like Jack Daniels and Jim Beams. Like just mentioning those names could be a trigger for someone. And I don't really know about that. Like,
no, that's a complete dramatization, whatever the word is.
Yeah, it's kind of I know what you're saying, but it's like if you and I've been around people who, because I used to be very involved in Celebrate Recovery, and so I've been around people who had substance abuse problems and alcoholism and such, and I get that, but I don't think anyone would say that like, oh, just by the mention of the word Jack Daniels, it's a trigger for me. It's like I feel like you got something to work on if that is going to like send you back into alcoholism. I mean, I don't want to seem insensitive or anything, but that's just kind of how I feel. And maybe it's the fact that it's being sung in a country song and it's kind of like taking them back to their days in like being at bars.
Yeah, and it's more like not just it being a country song, but it's in fact a Christian singer doing it in the style of of country in itself when
Mhm.
most of the mainstream songs by this point in time are about all of the worldly pleasures.
Yeah, and
And it's that and a good mixture of finding Christ again
mhm.
or newly finding Christ
Right.
in the midst of all of that.
Yeah, and like Ann Wilson has always been open about like how like her love for God, and I think it's very endearing, what she's trying to do.
Yeah.
And um she's talked about how she kind of lives in like in between world where like some of her music just seems too country to be on mainstream Christian radio, and but all of her music is like too Christian to be on country music. And so she kind of lives in the world where she is surrounded by country music artists that seem to always just be singing about alcohol and such and drinking a beer. And again, we don't really have a problem with that, but I guess it's the point where it's like, I guess for those country artists that like alcohol can be kind of an idol to them. And to Anne, Jesus is the center of her life. And so that's what she wants to sing about. And I saw some people complaining like, well, maybe she shouldn't have called it songs about whiskey. Because like what you said, it's kind of clickbaity, but
Yeah, because if it were up to me, I would have titled it as instead of songs about whiskey.
That's kind of a mouthful though. Instead of songs
Yeah,
about whiskey.
but right.
But
yet again, that's more. Yeah, songs about whiskey is more catchy.
Yeah, and it definitely
grabs it.
gets a reaction from people, and gets people interested. And excuse me, I need to take a drink.
Oh yeah, let's hydrate. Cheers.
Thanks. Sorry, it's nasal congestion, I think. But anyways, I think I kind of like it because I'm not saying that she's like on. For me, she's definitely not on tier with like any of these artists, but like it kind of feels like something that like Steve Taylor would have done, who like a lot of my favorite Christian artists are the ones who like push buttons, they try to you know they push buttons on certain issues and like get people a little uncomfortable. This isn't even like, for me, like this is pretty like weak compared to a lot of other Christian music that is like pushing the buttons.
Yeah.
But at least for me, like I respect what she's doing, that she is pushing some buttons and making people a little uncomfortable. I think this is definitely being blown out of proportion.
It is.
But
That's my 2 cents.
but I think it was probably bound to happen, with a title like that. And I guess if people are upset because she's naming particular brands, then whatever. I don't know. Put a helmet on.
And it's also because so many people are baseless, not saying as based, like having good opinions, but just like not having a firm backbone.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I guess I would have respect for people who are like, I had a history of alcoholism and I just don't really feel comfortable listening to this song.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
you do you.
And I'm more referring to
fine.
people. Yeah, I'm more referring. I think we're both referring to like certain group of people, or just like they have a fine relationship with alcohol, or they don't because like they say they're pretty sober or a straight edge, and
right,
are just doing their own vendetta for others who have had alcoholism as their main vice for some reason.
right.
And even for people that like they probably don't have anyone in life who has been affected by alcoholism in some way, then it's just like, oh, well,
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'll finish reading up this this article.
okay.
Wilson's music video for Songs About Whiskey was filmed at a bar to take a place where she says she has performed the. What is this sentence? It was filmed at a bar to take a place where she says she has performed the song and received a very similar response to when she sung it at churches. I've performed it at a bar and I've performed it at a church, Wilson says. And it's the same.
Why? Sorry.
You can't play at bars. That's
Don't play it at church either.
Jesus wouldn't do that. But she says, and it's the same response in both scenarios, and I love it. I think it's a fresh perspective on a song about whiskey that really hasn't ever been written before. The article continues to say, while not everyone will agree with the take on the song and its title, Wilson says it's her ultimate goal to glorify Jesus above all else. I do this for Jesus and his glory, Wilson says. So yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and sometimes I'm just like, ooh, there is a time. Because, like, for that kind of thing, it's just like, there is a time and a place for certain things, but, like, doing a song to try to, I don't think she's doing it to please both crowds, but both types of crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Because even on the gospel reading today at my church, it was you can't serve two masters because you'll love one and hate the other.
Right.
It was just like trying, but she's doing but it seems like she is trying to do her best to bring both of her worlds together in a more in like a sincere way, in the best of the abilities that she knows how.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, in my only side comment on her lyrics, we're just like, all right, these are a bit of a stretch. When she says before the chorus, I ain't trying to Bible Belt kill the buzz. Literal, and maybe she means literal buzz.
No, yeah, I think that's an intentional pun. I kind of love that.
Yeah. Yeah, because God loves country music. And I'm like, you don't do that. I'm sure.
Well, you don't think that God loves country music?
He cares more about his creation than the type of music.
Sure, but he is the creator of music, so I mean, I'm sure he loves all music.
And guess what? Oh, I don't know. He doesn't love black metal. I'm sure of that.
Well,
but
yeah, black metal has some.
That was my side comment.
No, yeah, I mean, there is that like connotation with country music where like country music is very like deep rooted in like the Bible Belt and like the Southern Christian world. So I think that's probably the tie that she's trying to make, but I think it's also just all in good fun. You can only take this song like so seriously,
Oh yeah. But I think, when we get into our next segment, actually that is a pretty good segue into our next segment.
Yeah. I think that I've said what I wanted to say about that. I think what she's doing, too. I think it's fun. I think it's funny how people have reacted to it, and she just should just keep doing what she's doing. And I personally don't really have a problem with the title. I think
me neither.
I think it's eye catching for like good reasons, And if people are offended by it, then I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, we can head into my humble opinion, our humble opinion. I'm not going to change the title of the I'm not going to change the title of the segment.
Fine.
It's still my humble opinion.
But for today, it is mine. It's my opinion too.
Both of ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you haven't even listened to all of the albums, so there. Of one of them.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine too. It will be specific about it.
Yeah.
All right. So today we got two singles. Stephen Curtis Chapman's Do It Again,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Meany's No Such Thing, and what albums do we got today, Mr. Clifford?
Well, I've never really like listed them off at the beginning, but I guess we're doing that. Loriella by My Epic and The Rain Falls Sideways by Benjamin Daniel. What should we do first?
Let's go ahead and let's do the singles first because they're still fresh in my head.
Sure. Yeah. So let's do Stephen Curtis Chapman. He's
Luckily I got the lyrics up for that as well.
Nice.
So when I was referring to Ann Wilson's song, well, Clifford was mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like being fun. I think that resurgence of like Christian artists having fun with their music is coming back a little bit. It's sprouting up again.
Yeah.
And I heard it pretty well in these two songs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Stephen Curtis Chapman has always been like he's one of the darlings of CCM that a lot of people like me still have a lot of respect for. He's been doing this for so long, and he still just has that that knack for fun, like you said, but like still like deep and meaningful. And I'm glad that he hasn't lost that, even in his, because he's not getting any younger. He's I don't know exactly how old he is, but probably at least in his late 50s.
What?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe let's do a fact check on that.
All right.
But yeah, so
okay,
Stephen Curtis Chapman,
I just fact checked. He's 62 years old.
Oh, okay. So even older. I mean, I was gonna say 60s, but I wanted to be a bit more generous. He's looking good for being in his 60s, but
even for his voice, I didn't even realize it. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, honestly, he still like sounds the same that he has been for like almost like the past 20 years. And one thing
that's inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. If Steve can do it, then you can too. But that was one thing that kind of surprised me about this track was like how like poppy and kind of trendy that it was. But I don't say that as a bad thing. I personally really enjoy this track. Even though it is like poppy and a bit more mainstream, it's a lot of fun, and I like a lot of the different sounds that they used for the song. I wouldn't be surprised because his sons are in the band Colony House. And
okay.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were involved in the creation of this because there's just a lot of fun stuff going on. Yeah.
Did you talk about watching Colony House in Bloomington?
Yeah, I saw them at the castle. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have brought some. Yeah, I was there too, and I should have brought sunglasses because of the amount of strobing lights that they had.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot that you were there.
It was only because they were super bright too.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't really an issue for me, but I was like pretty close to the stage, so maybe that made the difference. But
yeah,
anyways,
very far back. Anyway, this song.
Yeah, so Do It Again is just a really fun track. Just basically talking about all the blessings that God gives us, and how he's just he's gonna do it again, and just keep and it's more about like kind of like the simple things, more like he has a lot of references to nature, about the sun and the moon and the waves crashing on the shore. So it's just a lot of the ways that God blesses us through that, and how he's just gonna like keep doing that. And so yeah, it's a really fun track, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I was really
Yeah.
expecting a whole lot, but yeah, I don't know. What were your feelings and thoughts on it?
Yeah, so as I'm reading the maybe every morning when the sun breaks through that line and such, that just made me think of part of the breastplate of St. Patrick's Prayer, where it says, "I arise today through the strength of heaven, light of the sun, radiance of the moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, depth of the sea, stability of the earth, firmness of the rock, etc., 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 etc."
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, ah, man, maybe, maybe that was like an indirect reference to the
Maybe.
St. Patrick Prayer,
Yeah,
but it's good.
it's possible. Um, I mean, I don't know exactly what his faith is. As far as I know, I think he's Protestant,
Yeah.
but we Protestants still love St. Patrick, so
Oh yeah.
it's possible. But yeah, so I guess that's all really you can say about it. It's a nice track, and it's got some really. I love like I said, I love the little different sounds that they play like during the verses and such. So it's just a lot of fun, and it's just kind of a straightforward, upbeat jam. So if he's working on an album right now, I'm excited for it. So
I'm gonna do it again. Do it again. And again and again and again. I'm gonna do it again.
all right.
Next song,
Next up,
No Such Thing by Paul Meany.
yeah. So,
Okay.
I don't know if you're at all familiar, Nick, with Paul Meany, and
Not at all.
okay,
But I
so
wasn't. But I was impressed by what I heard.
you were impressed. You said,
And like this one, yeah, I like this one a bit more because like he, especially for the chorus line, he uses like double negatives.
yeah,
Like he uses conjunctions on purpose to outline a positive,
mm-hmm,
outline reality.
yeah,
There's in like one part, there's no such thing as no God exists. There's no such thing as no significance
yeah,
because there is something outlining. There is something greater.
mm-hmm,
There is great hope,
yeah,
and just like
and
good music, and just like good music, you have to go to different places, or and like find different people where that reality is lived out. You got to find those. You got to find people with those lamps that aren't hiding it in a basket, but like that are showing it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love the message behind it, and just like pointing to a greater purpose, and to a God that exists outside of ourselves. And one thing this song is very refreshing. So I'm going to get into history about Paul Meany. So
Okay.
not too long ago, there was a little band by the name of Mute Math, and they were they had their following. I mean, they didn't really break out as much as like a lot of people wanted them to, but Paul Meany was the lead singer and primary songwriter for Mute Math, and then things happened and Mute Math ended up falling apart. But Paul Meany basically transitioned from lead singer to producer, and he produced a lot of great music. Has produced a lot of great music since his time in Mute Math. He has worked with some very notable acts. He helped produce a lot of 21 Pilots stuff. Notably their album Trench and their latest album Clancy, which are two of my favorites from them, and he was very involved in the production of those. He's also worked with Half Alive, which is another great a group that I love. And so yeah, and then this year he announced that he was finally releasing some music of his own, and so so I was really excited about that. But this song kind of comes as a welcome surprise, because one thing about Mute Math is that they were one of those bands where they were like, well, we're Christians, but we don't call ourselves a Christian band. And, they had some success in the secular world. The thing about Mute Math was that like
Yes.
especially in their later career, they were never really like the most upfront about their faith. Like some references
Yeah.
to faith and such, but like, when they fizzled out, and then Paul Meany just went into production phase in his career. Like for me personally, and maybe other fans will say the same, it wasn't like I always wondered, I'm like, I wonder if like Paul still like, practices his faith, if he still considers himself a Christian. Like I know he works with 21 Pilots and Half Alive, and they're kind of in that same boat where like they talk about their faith, but they're not like overtly Christian, really. But it was just never really sure, and so I wondered what his new music was going to be like, and just very surprised to find like this new song basically being like a statement of faith almost, and so
Yeah.
I find that really to be really cool, and like this being like some of the most like um up front that he's been about his faith, at least like in a long time. So I just got to say, like, I would still listen to his music, like whatever he wrote about, but it's really refreshing to hear these kinds of lyrics coming from him. There's no such thing as no God exists, no such thing as no significance, or like there's no such thing as no more faith to grip. So it seems like his faith in God is still very important to him. And so that's really cool. And the song sounds great too. Um, it kind of reminds me of what was that album from Need to Breathe? I think it was a Hard Love. I think kind of has those kinds of vibes with like the pop, but like sort of like big band influences on it. It's kind of soul like, and I really like that. And Paul Meany is like one of my favorite producers, so it's really cool to be hearing like him put all of that talent into his own music. So yeah, I don't know if you had any additional thoughts about it.
No, that was it for me.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, definitely check out No Such Thing by Paul Meany, and I'm really excited to because he's supposed to come out with a full album this year. I'm pretty sure it's this year, so I'm really excited to hear more from him. So welcome back, Paul Meany. Yeah.
There's no such thing as no God exists. There's no such thing as no significance. Feeling I belong and I found. There's no such.
Okay. So, why don't we talk about Loriella by My Epic? So
Okay.
new album from My Epic. We talked about some of the singles here on this channel, and the new album is finally out, and lots of people are talking about it. Lots of people are loving it. Did you have any thoughts to share about it, Nic?
It flew by for me as I was driving to and from church. Because like at their opening song, I wasn't sure if this was gonna be the entire vibe for it.
Oh yeah, just
or
kind of like
if
a
it was
more
just like a
chill
soft-
sort of.
It was just like a soft opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just a soft opening leading into their big riffs as always. So I was like, oh okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's an interesting way
Brilliant.
to open up the album with just like such a soft and chill way. I mean, I love it. But yeah, not many. It's not a very common way to open up an album that has such like very heavy hitters in the album. But I personally really love it. I will say, like, it's taken its time to grow on me because My Epic, they've always very been heavy on their sound and like the it's a particular vibe to their music, and I will say it's not always been like the the thing that I care about most about them, But this is the kind of album that, like, when you listen along with when you read along with the lyrics and such, it brings a lot of the songs to life for me. And lead singer, he's got a great voice, and but he's an incredible songwriter. I love a lot of the lyrics to the song, and there's this common theme of flowers and of growth, and I think it's a lot about like personal growth as much as it is about the church just growing as a church together. And so I really loved that aspect to it. So yeah, just a lot of themes about like what it means to grow, like the hard parts about it and the good parts about it. And so that's something that I really appreciate about it. And just so yeah, I'm not normally like a lyrics first person kind of guy.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, more recently it's been more about like,
Unless I hear it clearly
right. Yeah.
on my first listen. That's an exception.
Yeah, and that is kind of a thing with my epic, is that most of the time you do kind of have to read along to like really track along with what they're singing. Which isn't necessarily a bad not saying that like the vocals don't come clear through enough.
I mean,
but
that's like my little ritual. That used to be my ritual whenever I get a new album.
yeah,
I would just read along. I would just sit and read along with it
yeah,
so I can get a
I've been trying to do that
full
more.
experience.
Yeah,
Deep dive.
yeah,
Been doing that for a few years.
yeah.
With some exceptions.
Some exceptions, yeah.
If they don't provide
Right,
it.
and if you don't really have the lyrics on hand,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I've been trying to do that more.
Their third.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Their seventh or eighth track called Red Hands.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last song I listened to theirs today, so I'm just making a big disclaimer. And I told Clifford prior I didn't get to the final few songs because I ran out of time, and I had a nap before recording today, so I didn't make time for that.
That's okay. You definitely should, because the final track is one of my favorites. Is Heavy Heart. It's one of the more accessible ones that has kind of like a more of a hook to it. But I still think that my favorite track is Make Believe, which is very different compared to the rest of the album, because there's like no drums or really even any guitars. Really, it's all like atmospheric. But I mean, I gotta just go back to the lyrics. Like, I love the lyrics to that song. Some of my favorites that I've heard this year. So yeah, I'm really digging it. And it's inspiring me to go back and listen back to their previous albums. So yeah, this is definitely going to be probably one of my favorites this year. I just love a lot of the themes that they're tackling, and the lyricism is great too. I love all the very clever like references to flowers and growth, and just, I can't really say any specifics, but there are like some things where they're like a lyric will like reference a previous song, so it's kind of like this whole, kind of concept with this album. So yeah, I'd say definitely check it out. I know a lot of people are really digging this album, so definitely check it out. Loriella by My Epic. Yeah.
Small as you are, you got a really heavy heart.
And last but not least, it's been a long time coming. Well, maybe not the longest time, because it feels like Benjamin Daniels' "Home Enough for Now" album came out like yesterday. It feels like, but I've been really excited about this album because I mentioned before that I backed this album, and so I got an early listen to this album like a month ago. So really excited to talk about it, and finally came out to the public last weekend, I believe. Yeah, because it came out during Audiofeed. And yeah, it's I think it's great. It's definitely, it's not like Home Enough for Now. This is like you know Benjamin Daniel actually like went into a studio and recorded it rather than recording most of it on his phone. So it's a lot more produced. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess before I gush about it, did you have any
Yeah.
first thoughts about it, Nick?
So as we speak, I'm currently re-listening to one of his songs, "Fear Him."
Oh yeah,
Him as in HYMN.
HYMN. Yeah, that's a good pun there.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like this one because like as I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh yeah, that was actually one of the songs that he did for his audio feed set.
Yeah, and actually he first released that song like a long time ago, and this is like it's a new version of it, released specifically for this album. So it's a reiteration of one that he did a while ago. But I think I prefer this version, anyways. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
It's really catchy, but still very like heartfelt and serious as well. It's easy to sing along with, but I love the lyrics that he has in the verses. Um, um,
Yeah, but I was also thinking about something similar in another song that was similar in
Mhm.
structure, and I found it. It's the title track of his album, "The Rain Falls Sideways." That one also caught my attention a bit more this
Yeah.
morning.
What specifically about it caught your attention?
It being ambient,
Oh yeah,
but like not the kind of in your face
mm-hmm.
vibe of it that contemporary Christian the contemporary Christian music scene has succumbed
Yeah.
itself to, or has become codependent on
Yeah.
by this point.
It's true. It's kind of a lazy thing.
as more of a compliment, yeah, and then just like more as a complimentary
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think
And it's like and it's another case where I just like I did pick up on several things that he talked about, and bless you.
Thanks.
And even the not and even little nods and tributes to his mom that he lost through cancer. That's right. Is that right? Yeah, something similar that he carried over. What? Clifford, breathe. You need to
Sorry, you
breathe.
might have to give me a second.
So while he's dying, I'll tell you a little bit more. So like a little bit that like I appreciate. I don't know much of Benjamin's story, but I did remember listening to an episode that Clifford featured on his show. They're like him losing. They're like for Benjamin losing his mom to cancer. It was something that like he had to go through. And I like that he continued to carry that over into his new album. You can still hear that theme here and there, kind of like as a tribute and gratitude to his late mother. And I think for him, in the loss of his mother, it was a good opportunity for him to explore and understand and continue to grow in Christ. Understand. And okay, I'm going to stop right there because I'm just going to be rambling on about nothing stuff I
No,
don't know.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the whole album, Home Enough for Now, was um basically all about the process of him dealing with the passing of his mother. But there's still, since this is post Home Enough for Now, there's still kind of some traces of that, of him still, you know, still going through that, and still, it's still a part of like him, of his journey. And so it's not like a big point in the album, but it comes up a couple times,
Yeah.
because obviously with grief, it's not always like just a done deal, so but it's interesting to still hear like from where he's at now after that. I don't know, like obviously like Fear Him and maybe some other songs were written before that. um they're probably older than Home Enough for Now. um but there's still obviously some other songs, because he's still talking about his mom. But I find this album to be a lot more uplifting, and very encouraging. I mean, it's still dealing with a lot of hard stuff, but it's mostly just like, um, like the life of a Christian, and it's Home Enough and Now is like more specifically about grief. But this is more, accessible to, maybe people who haven't really dealt with grief, but are still trying to navigate, the Christian life. And one thing that I love about Benjamin Daniel, and it's very apparent in this album, is just like how conversational he is, and a lot of his lyrics are very like specific, where he's like talking about specific things in his life, mentioning particular people in his life. Like he has a song where he's like just having lunch with a brother in Christ of his, and like how encouraging that is. And he has a song called "Slow Down," or "You Slow Down," where it really pretty much is about just going on just going for a drive with friends, and just how important that is. So a lot of it is about like relationships, but a lot of it is about just his relationship with God, and how a lot of that has just been about a lot of trust for him. And so yeah, I haven't like I've read a lot of the lyrics to the song. I haven't really done a deep dive into it, so I wish I could give a more thorough review of it. But basically, all I can say is that it's a really encouraging song album, and also very very well produced. It was produced by Asher Peterson, who is the son of Andrew Peterson. um, and a lot of really great moments. One thing that I really love, that I've kind of come to realize about Benjamin Daniel, is that he is great at writing really good bridges. Like I could name some of these songs, like well, maybe I'm struggling. Like Lights Out has a great bridge. Slow Down has a great bridge, and what was the one? I think it was The Morning Sun Above My House. Yeah, the Morning Sun Above My House, that also has a great bridge. Just like, I don't know, he's has a knack for creating bridges that really bring the song home, you know. So props to him for that. He's a great lyricist as well as a great uh, songwriter of like with the music side of things. So I'm looking forward to continuing to spin this album. It's a great encouragement to me, and yeah, so I recommend anyone check that out. Check it out and listen to his music. Any closing thoughts that you had on the Rain Falls Sideways?
Nope, you did. Nope, you obviously listened to it a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I've had a lot of time with it.
When you take us home.
And I appreciate. I mean, I told Nick when we figured out that, you know, when we put this together of him being on the show, I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm going to talk about in my humble opinion, and you're welcome to listen to him so that you can also have an opinion. So I appreciate you doing as much work as you did. So, but that is all for my humble opinion, then, or our humble opinion. And I'm currently dying.
Yeah. And it's time for us to eat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sorry, this whole I've been dealing with like allergies and like nasal drainage and such, and so like it gets in my throat and causes me to like
Oh yeah.
cough and like kind of choke up, sort of. And it happens at random moments.
Yeah, I had some sneeze attacks this morning.
Say what?
Yeah, I had some sneeze attacks this morning too.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just affects when it gets into my throat and like makes it hard to breathe. I don't know. It's very annoying. So apologies for that. I'll try to edit out most of that so that it's not like awkward or anything. But yeah, anyways, so we're coming to the end of the episode. Next episode we're gonna do the Make Sure interview, and
All right.
I think we'll still have like our like the beginning of the episode and end of the episode, because obviously we're still going to do like my humble opinion, but the majority of the episode is going to be the Make Sure interview. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. Joshua was a great guy, and I think I've found a good new friend in him. So really excited for you guys to see that, to hear that. Listen to his music beforehand if you want. But yeah, that'll be out in 2 weeks, and then of course will be the John Van Dusen interview, which is probably going to end up being a two-parter, because we didn't really get to talk about everything we wanted to talk about in the first interview. It kind of got cut short, so I might be having like a call with him, getting together with him about that. But yeah, so first off is Make Sure. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Still working on you know, a couple of projects that I've talked about, the Front Porch Step video and Christians and audio drama. I'm going to start doing research on those, and you know, get started on recording and editing those whenever I feel like I'm ready. So I'm excited for those.
All right. Noise.
Sorry, were you going to say something, Nick?
No, I said noise.
Oh, noise.
Noise.
But thanks, Nick, for coming on the show. It's really fun.
You're
Yeah,
most
really
welcome.
fun having you on, and looking forward to you being regular on the show, at least as regular as is possible. And hopefully next episode we'll have both you and Josh on the show, and so that'll
that'll
be fun. So like I said, guys, leave a comment and be warm and welcoming to Nick, and I hope you guys like this new format. for the show. I know it's different, but hopefully not too different. And I think hopefully it's better, because I don't like it when it's just me talking. In fact, even for me, like listening to some of the podcasts that I like, when it's just like the one person, I'm like, I don't find this interesting. So hopefully this is a lot more interesting for you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback. I mean, if you don't, I'll still hear your feedback. So, all right. Well, I'll see you later, Nick. I mean, not really. We're just going to end the recording.
All right.
But
Yeah.
love you guys, and we'll see you in a couple weeks then. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Hey, this is Stephen Christian from Amberlin. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and also feel free to subscribe to I'm Clifford Today. For those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating and a review. Also, be sure to check out Clifford's Clips and Highlights channel. I'm Clifford Today. If you want to hear more from Clifford, check out his other podcast, Podwood Forecast. And there's always t-shirts and other merch you can buy, so be sure to take a look at that. There are links to everything in the episode description, so thanks for stopping by, and remember, he's Clifford Today, and you're not.